Hi everyone, Anthony Morganti here. Very quickly at the top, I want to mention that if I sound a bit different in today's video, it's because I have COVID. I've managed to avoid COVID completely until yesterday, and that's actually despite everyone in my family over the past couple of years getting COVID, some of them multiple times. I managed to avoid it completely until yesterday. I woke up with a slightly scratchy throat, but it felt different to me. So I took a COVID test and it came back positive. Other than that scratchy throat, I feel fine. So we're going to be doing a video. Now you may remember that a week or so ago, I did a demo review video on the newly released DxO PureRAW3. A few days after that, I did a video comparing PureRAW3 to PureRAW2. I think the natural conclusion would be to do a video comparing PureRAW3 to the other so-called AI noise reduction applications that I've done videos of in the past. Those include On1's NoNoise AI, Luminar Neo Noiseless AI, and Topaz Labs Denoise AI. Now, I'm going to be using all of these apps as Lightroom plugins, and the only reason why I'm doing it that way is because it's easiest to show you the results from within Lightroom. Now, Topaz Labs Denoise AI works as a standalone app and works as a Lightroom plugin. DxO PureRAW3 works as a standalone app and as a Lightroom plugin. If you purchase NoNoise AI, it works as a standalone app and as a plugin in Lightroom. Luminar Neo's Noiseless AI is a bit different. It is an extension for Luminar Neo that you have to pay extra for. If you do pay extra for it, it unfortunately does not work as a standalone app all by itself, and it doesn't work all by itself as a Lightroom plugin. You have to use it from within Luminar Neo. So we'll be using Luminar Neo as a Lightroom plugin so that we could access Noiseless AI. All right, we're going to be working on this image. You can see it was shot with a relatively high ISO of 12,800. It is an unedited RAW file. Just click reset a couple times over here. If I zoom in, you can see that there is a considerable amount of noise. So this is a good image to test all of these apps out with. And we're going to start with DxO's PureRAW3. Now, if you saw the previous two videos I've done on PureRAW3, and by the way, if you haven't seen them, I'll have them in a playlist in the description below this video. I mentioned in those videos, and I demonstrated in those videos, that you cannot send an image into PureRAW3 in the most conventional way you would send an app or send an image into a plugin from within Lightroom, meaning you don't right-click, go down to Edit In, and over to PureRAW3. If you look, you can see it's not over there. So to get the image into PureRAW3, what you need to do is go up to File, then down to Plugin Extras, then over and down to Process with DxO PureRAW3. Click on that, and it may be a little slow, but eventually a dialog box will appear, and it will give you some options. And really, that's the only options you'll have with PureRAW3, meaning it won't ultimately open the image up into PureRAW3 and allow you to move sliders to tweak anything. It just doesn't work that way. So we get this dialog box, and you have 4 different RAW processing and denoising technologies. And I mentioned in those other videos that I've done on PureRAW3 that if D'XD is available, that only will be available with RAW files. Choose that, because in almost all instances, it will work the best of the 4 RAW processing and denoising technologies they show. So we're going to use D'XD. We are going to do optical corrections, and I'll keep the default settings here. The advantage of sending the image into PureRAW3 in this manner, as opposed to right-clicking, which you can't do anyway, and going to Edit In, is that you get to output it as a RAW file, a DNG file. You also could do JPEG and TIFF. I like to keep the RAW format as much through my workflow as possible. So I'm going to output it as a DNG file. I'm going to save it to the original folder that the original image is in. As far as file renaming, I'll let it do its default renaming, but I'm going to end up renaming it anyway later. And we're just going to start processing. Now I mentioned it's not going to open up the image inside of DxO PureRAW3 because there's nothing to do. There's no sliders to move. It just automatically will remove the noise the best it can using that technology d'XD that we chose. Then what it will do, and this is where it works sometimes and doesn't work other times, is it will put it inside a Lightroom collection, and it's actually going to create a collection set. And then within that collection set will be a collection that will contain the image. It also will save the original image, the modified image, into my original folder, which is working folder is what I called it. But sometimes this doesn't work and it will just sit there. So we got to weed it out. But if it does work, it will put it in the collection and we'll put the folder, the image in and now it's doing it. It took a while. All right, so here's our collection set, DxO PureRAW3, and there's the collection. It's just the date and time the image was taken, or modified, I should say. And then there's the image, but it's in the working folder right here. You can see it has this big long name. We're actually going to rename this. If you're in the library module Lightroom, to rename an image, all you need to do is hit the F2 key, and we'll call this DxO PureRAW3. All right, so just like that. And we'll click OK. So that has the name PureRAW3. It is a raw file.dng. We'll go back to the original raw file. I'm not going to compare anything yet. I'll wait till we're all done. So let's send this image now to On1's NoNoise AI. Now with On1's NoNoise AI, we can right click and go down to edit in. But we could do it the other way as well. And if we do it the other way, we could keep that raw format throughout our workflow. So we'll do it that other way. We'll go up to File, Plug in Extras, then over and down to, where is it? There it is, On1 NoNoise AI. I have too many plugins. So there it is. We'll click there. And when you do that, you'll get this dialog box. Now, it is an unedited raw file, so it doesn't matter if I do edit a copy or edit a copy with Lightroom adjustments. It's going to be the exact same thing. File format. I mentioned we could keep that raw format. Just go to that drop-down. You can see that you have the option to save it as a JPEG, TIFF, Photoshop file, or a DNG. Let's do DNG. That's a raw file. We'll keep the other default settings there and just click OK. Now, unlike PureRAW3 with On1's NoNoise AI, it will actually open the image up into On1's NoNoise AI, and we could tweak it. There's some settings we could do here. So we'll let it do its thing. And you can see there's a progress bar. Well, it disappeared. It's in the lower right-hand side. Whenever I move things around here, let's move the navigator window over the heads of the birds. And we have the split view. There's before and there's after. You can see it removed the noise pretty well. Now we have some options here. First of all, there's two different NoNoise AI models. It chose the original model by default. We go to the drop-down. There's also a high detail model. We'll click that. With the progress bar, lower right-hand corner, let do its thing. And you can see it's kind of blotchy, isn't it, compared to the other one? And let's zoom in a little bit. I'll hit Command plus on my Mac once. It'd be Control plus on a PC. We'll reposition over here. All right. Let's go to the drop-down. This is the high detail AI model. Let's go to the original AI model. Yeah, that is much better. So we'll go with that. And then it has the luminance and color sliders maxed out, so there's not much I could do there. Do I want to try to enhance detail? Let's move in a little, zoom in a little bit more though. Let's look at this, the head of this woodpecker, and let's enhance detail. It's set at 50. Let's just put it to 100. You can see it definitely enhanced the detail. It is sharper. It did kind of reintroduce a little bit of the noise though. So you can see if I move it back down to like 50, let it render, you can see the noise is totally gone. But then when it's at 100, the noise is brought back a little bit. So let's split the difference and go around 75. That looks pretty good overall. Now we do have micro sharpening. Now this, you can see almost in real time as I move the slider, it sharpens. But it also is bringing back the noise. Now by default, that was set at 100. Let's just leave it there. I think that's fine. So this is about the best I could do here with this. I do have the option, though, to use Tack Sharp AI if I wanted to. But typically in my workflow, and what I recommend to everyone is remove noise early in your workflow and sharpen at the very end. So I'm not interested in sharpening the image right now, even though I used enhanced detail to sharpen it a little bit. I really don't want to do that right now. Since I still have the raw file to work with when I'm back in Lightroom, I could do my Lightroom edits do any little cropping I need to do whatever I want to do with tone and color. Then at the very end, I could sharpen it if I want. I could send it back into here and use Tack Sharp AI, or I could just use Lightroom sharpening if I wanted to, or use a different plugin for that matter. Let's just click done. And it will return this DNG to Lightroom, and it will put it in that original folder. All right, this should be it here, the third one over. Yeah, no, that's DxO. So it's the second one. So there it is. We're going to rename this one too. Again, we'll hit the F2 key, and this one we're going to call On1 NoNoise AI. All right, so that's that one. All right, so let's keep them in the order we did them in. There's the original RAW file. There is PureRAW3. There is No Noise AI. Let's go back to the original RAW file. Make sure we're on that. Zoom in. Yep, a lot of noise. Let's send this to Luminar Neo's Noiseless AI. Now, to send it there, you could right-click, go to Edit In, and over and down to Luminar Neo, wherever it is on here. Probably looking right at it. But yeah, here, Luminar Neo right here. But you could do it the other way as well. So let's try to be consistent from image to image, and we'll do it the other way. We'll go to File, we'll go to Plugin Extras, and then we'll go down to Transfer to Luminar Neo right here. Now, when you do it this way, unfortunately, it doesn't keep the RAW format throughout your workflow. It actually sent a TIFF over. That's okay. Now we'll go to Edit, and we have this Noiseless AI. Again, this is an extension that costs extra if you purchase Luminar Neo. They do actually have a big sale on right now, like the cheapest it's been maybe ever. I'll have all that information in the description below this video. So let's go to Noiseless AI. It's recommended I use the high adjustment, so we'll click on high, and then it does this geometric thing where that's just for show. It's actually analyzing the image and trying to remove the noise. But then we have adjustments we could do here, and you can see it's done. So remove the noise. There is a before, and there's after. Let's zoom in a little more and reposition. There is before and after. You can see it remove the noise, but it's a little bit blotchy, isn't it? So let's go to the luminosity to noise, and let's put that at 100 and see if anything happens. And nothing happens. It looks pretty much the same. So if it's at 50 and 100, it looks pretty, whoops, there's 100. And nah, see, it really didn't do anything. So if I'm at 75, it's pretty much the same. If I move it down to 0, I don't know, it's hard to say. So let's just split the difference and go at 75, even though I didn't see any difference. Now, color denoise, if I move that all the way down, you can see we're reintroducing the color noise. By default, it was at 50. Let's try that at 100. That didn't really seem to do much either. So I really don't see any difference there. So we'll split the difference again and put that around 75. Now, details, if I move that to the right, will increase or enhance the detail. But you can see I reintroduced that noise. But if I bring that down, you see that there's no noise, but there really wasn't much noise. It's just kind of blotchy when it was at 50. And then sharpness, I move that to the right. You can see that's kind of enhancing the noise. If I put it down, a lot more subtle there. I could barely see a difference, tell you the truth. So we'll split the difference the other way on that. We'll go to 25. That's about the best I could do here. So again, I'm not interested in really sharpening the image. If I wanted to, I'd go to Super Sharp AI. That's another extension for Luminar Neo. But again, I don't like to sharpen too early in my workflow. I prefer to do that at the end. So this is about the best I could do with Neo. So we'll click Apply. Now, I mentioned that this will not be a RAW file, despite us sending it in through that plugin extras way, like I did the other two apps. This will be a TIFF file. And you can see right there, so it's .tiff. Let's rename this one as well. First of all, I got to click, there we go. Now we'll go Neo dash noiseless, oops, AI. Okay, so that's Noiseless AI. All right, finally, let's go back to this RAW file again. Make sure we're the RAW file, yep. All right, now we're going to send this to Denoise AI. Now, unfortunately, Denoise AI isn't available on that plugin extras menu at all. We have to right-click on the image and go down to Edit In, and then over and down to Topaz Denoise AI. A copy with Lightroom adjustments. This is a RAW file. We'll output it as a TIFF. You have the option of PSD and JPEG as well. Now, if you use Denoise AI as a standalone app, it will work on RAW files, and you could save it as a DNG file, but that's only when you use it as a standalone app. I'm limiting it a bit by using it as a Lightroom plugin. So let's let it do its thing. Once it opens up into Denoise AI, you'll see that Denoise AI is the most feature-rich of all of these applications. We have 5 different AI models to choose from. You can see standard, clear, low light, severe noise, and raw. I prefer to be in what's called comparison view to begin with. That way I could look at 4 of the 5 AI models at one time. Let's move the navigator window over the birds a little more so we could see more of the birds. Now you have to wait for each window to render. There's the standard. You can see clear is updated. Here's severe noise updating. What I like to do is, and I mentioned this many times, is try to compare these in an equal way, meaning I'll be on standard, make sure that the model preferences is set to auto. That just means that Denoise AI will automatically set these 2 sliders. Then we'll go on clear, make sure that's on auto. Go to low light, make sure that's on auto. Then go to severe noise and make sure that's on auto. Now, as I look at them, standard is the worst of the 3, but if I go back to standard, I could make that active and swap that out now because that's the worst of the 4, I should say, not 3. Click on raw, just see what that looks like. Now, this isn't a raw file, though. It's a TIFF file. It actually is better than standard, but still not as good as either clear, low light, or severe noise. I think severe noise might be the best. It's really hard to say. Severe noise actually has a little more blotchiness compared to the low light, though. And clear. So clear, there isn't a lot of options here. We just have like push buttons, and it already automatically chooses high and high, so I really can't do much here. Post-processing, you have 2 sliders, recover original detail and color noise reduction. There was color noise here. So let's just go with low light because we have more options here. And what I do is I'll pick that. Then I'll go to single view modes, and you have to wait for it to render. See the lower left-hand corner is that progress bar. Let it render, get rid of the noise. It did. Now I could try to tweak it. Do I want to try to enhance sharpness? I could just like max that out, see what happens. Let it render. You have to wait. And this could be slow on some computers. It really depends on your GPU and your machine. If you have a more modern, newer GPU, it will tend to go faster than an older computer with an older GPU. Actually, that looks pretty good. It didn't reintroduce any of the noise when I maxed out enhanced sharpness. It looks great, actually. So I'm just going to go with that. We're going to click apply. Now this will return this TIFF file, I believe it was, to Lightroom, and then we can compare all of them to one another. I'm going to rename this one as well, though. So we're in Lightroom again. I'll hit that F2 key again. Oops. On my Mac computer, I have to hold the function key and hit F2. This is Topaz dash, and this is Denoise AI. Okay, so that's that one. All right, let's go back to the original RAW file, and let's make sure that the view is lock zoom position is turned on, and let's pick on this bird at the top. This is the female of the 2 woodpeckers. Let's look at this one. All right, there's the original RAW file. Here is PureRAW3. That looks pretty good. Here is On1's NoNoise AI. Let's go back to PureRAW3 and NoNoise AI. PureRAW3 is a little better than NoNoise AI. You can see there's a little bit of noise, a little bit, let's say, between the beaks of the bird here, and that seems to be completely cleared up here. The reason why it's kind of jumping a little bit is because I had the option with DxO's PureRAW3 to do lens corrections, and I didn't have the option to do lens corrections with any of the other applications. So they're all going to jump a little bit compared to PureRAW3. So there is No Noise AI. Still very good though. Just tiny, not quite as good as PureRAW3. Then next to PureRAW3, we have Neo's Noiseless AI. And you can see that's the worst of the three. There's still a lot of noise, some blotchiness, and nowhere near as sharp as the other ones. And then at the end here, we have Topaz Labs Denoise AI. And I'd say that that is pretty good. So Denoise AI is definitely better than Luminar Neo's Noiseless AI. And is it better than On1's NoNoise AI? Very close. I'd say it's a little better. On1's NoNoise AI is a bit sharper, but there is a little bit of noise in there because of that sharpness. Also, around the edges with NoNoise AI, like if you look right in here, there's a little noise, but then it goes away when you get away from the edges. Whereas with Denoise AI, you don't have that. But then we go back to PureRAW3, and you don't have that at all. I'd say, this is my opinion, I'd say the three of them are very close, with Luminar Neo's Noiseless AI pulling up the rear in fourth place. But I would say that PureRAW3 is slightly better than Denoise AI. Denoise AI is slightly better than On1's NoNoise AI, and all three of those are considerably better than Luminar Neo's Noiseless AI. Let me know in the comment section if you agree with that assessment. Let's go through them again. Let's zoom out. Let's pick on a different woodpecker. Let's look at the male over here. There is the raw file. Next to that is PureRAW3. Next to that is No Noise AI. Next to that is Noiseless AI. And then next to that is Denoise AI. So what I'm going to do is I'll zoom out. And in post-production for this video, I'm going to zoom in on just the heads of the woodpeckers. Let's look at them now. This is the unedited raw file. Next to that is PureRAW3. Next to that is No Noise AI. Next to that is Noiseless AI. And then next to that is Denoise AI. All right, one more time for the people in the back. This is the unedited raw file. This is DxO's PureRAW3. Next to that is On1's No Noise AI. Next to that is Luminar Neo's Noiseless AI. And then finally, next to that is Topaz Labs Denoise AI. Let me know in the comments which one of these you think is best. And that's it for this video. I really appreciate everyone watching. Thank you. I'll talk to you guys soon.